All right, everybody. Jason Sloan here with Furtado Law Solutions, and we have Woody and Kim from AJ's Dent. How you guys doing today? How hot is it there? It's steaming hot down here in Guadalajara.
It's hot up here in Dallas.
Yeah.
It's in the 90s. It's humid. All that rain that came through last week really kicked up the humidity around here.
Yeah. Looks like Kim got frozen for a second, so we'll let her get fixed and we'll bring her back. All right. Well, let's get right to it. So you want to tell us about your history, Woody?
So I grew up in small town Iowa on a farm. So I've got that kind of a work ethic. Small town, 900, 29 my graduating class. After that, I went off to college, got a degree in business management, minors in finance and banking and economics. And to make my parents proud, I work on cars for a living.
Okay. Nice. So
Yeah, put all that money on education to be a car guy.
So I got kind of a funny question. I think after this interview, I think the ladies are going to be lining up asking this: Are you married or are you single?
I am engaged. We just got engaged in February, so
okay.
First time in my life. I've never been married before, so
okay. Yeah, me either.
Just finally waited for the right one, I guess.
Yeah. So, what about your education?
So, like I said, I went to college. I do have a degree in business management. I own a few businesses over the years. Some have been successful, some have not. But I've stuck with the paintless dent repair business. I really do enjoy working on cars. So my education kind of leads me to be more of an owner and a boss than an actual true tech. So I like money. I like economics. If I ever went back to school for masters, it'd probably be in economics because that's what I really like. But I love business. I love the way things work, the way things move through the economy. So yeah, it's a fun dichotomy of both worlds. I get to work on cars. I'm a car guy. I have a bunch of old hot rods that someday when I retire, I'll probably build up and fix. But those are for the future. So, but now it's just fixing cars and owning the business, growing the business.
Nice. So if you weren't working, what would you be doing?
Well, the nice thing about what I do is I've got to travel all over the world. I've worked in Australia, I've worked in South Africa, and I scuba dive. It's one of the things that me and the girlfriend really enjoy doing. And so I've got to work in some great places and scuba dive also. I've dove in Cape Town, False Bay, where the sharks are, the great whites are. I dove with the bull sharks in Mozambique, the wrecks in Truk Lagoon, the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. So scuba diving is probably, if money wasn't an option, scuba diving is what I would do every day.
Okay. Nice. So tell us about what it is that paintless dent repair is. Most roofers probably know because a lot of guys try to link up with them, and you have a completely different scenario, which is why we're having you on here today. But for those who don't know what PDR is, what is it?
Well, some call it an art form. It's the movement of the metal back from the dented position back to the flat position, the original position, without having to use any paint or Bondo or grinding or anything like that. It's restoring that car, that dented panel back to the original condition without having to do any of the invasive procedures that like the body shops do. So that's basically what it is in a nutshell. It's been around for almost as far back as actual cars were. Back in the early Model Ts when they started the assembly lines, they had some guys that roughed stuff out back then. But it's been in the last 40 years or so where the paint has actually got a little bit of a flex quality to it, where you can actually start moving metal back to its original paint position without damaging the paint, without hurting the paint more, and it'll move. The paint moves with the metal now to some extent. So that's basically it in a nutshell. So.
Okay, and you and me talked about this. If it was something like windshields or completely tacoed car, you guys can deal with that too. If I've seen some panels that it looks like a Jiffy Pop.
So that storm that just went through Keller here, it created a lot of damage. It broke a lot of paint. So the thing that we do in our industry is we try and stay away from having to paint cars, but that isn't always the case. The damage is too severe, broken paint, broken windshields. So our company, we work really close with body shops. We do our best to establish body shop connections where we're at, because the work can flow both ways that way. We've got two really good shops here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that can take in all the extra stuff that we can't handle. And it takes some of that load off of us. It makes the repair the right way, the proper way, gets those cars back to pre-loss condition for the insured, and that's what they deserve. So
Exactly. And you already talked about going all over, so that answers my next question. So let me ask you this. For right now, you guys are in Denver and Dallas, correct?
Correct. And we have a small satellite shop in San Antonio.
Okay. And then, but you also talked about if say somebody was in Wisconsin and there was a small storm, obviously, typically Wisconsin doesn't get Texas or Denver hail, but you said you had connections with shops all over the country, correct?
I've been doing this since '95, and this is like somewhat to roofing, but we are a manufactured networking group. And what I mean is there's never enough PDR guys in a city when a city gets hit with hail to handle the volume. So the only way that they can do that is guys like me and the guys that I work with. We travel. And we travel all over the United States. I have worked in some small towns, less than 10,000, and I've worked in almost every major metropolitan area that has hail, except for Oklahoma City. And for some reason, I have never worked in Oklahoma City, but everybody else I know has. But it's just one of those anomalies. But I've worked in Minneapolis, Nashville, all over the East Coast, up and down the Midwest. And because of the way we are, it's a 1-2 degree separation from anybody in this industry. So if I get a one car in Wisconsin and somebody calls and says, hey, I need a car fixed, I probably know 6 guys within an hour's drive of where that car is that can get it handled. And these are guys that I know personally, guys that I've worked with in the past. You mentioned Wisconsin. Travis lives up there. He's a Green Bay Packers fan, so he can stay up there.
Mm-hmm. So. All right. So, and how did you put this together to get involved in the roofing industry?
That's a little bit of a longer story, because I have stories. And I like stories. So a little over 2 years ago, a girl that is one of Kim's best friends went to work for a guy named Charlie Cena out in Las Vegas. And Charlie Cena is a keynote speaker. He does a lot of events, and he was speaking at the Win the Storm 2 years ago. And Tasha was there, and she was kind of wanted to practice her. She was new to the industry, needed somebody to practice her sales pitch for selling tickets to Win the Storm. So she asked Kim if Kim would do her a favor and watch her presentation. So Kim drugged me into it. We sat in the office one day, and Tasha went through her thing talking about the Win the Storm. And as a small business owner, it's always good to be around other small business owners, because business is business. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. The concepts are always the same, and you can always pick something up and learn something. So as Tasha got through her sales pitch, I told Kim, buy 2 tickets. I don't think we'll go. I have no interest in roofing. Those guys stand on hot roofs all day, and I don't want to do that. So we bought 2 tickets just to give Tasha that first sell and give her that little ego boost to help her, because anybody who knocks doors or does sales, they know that the hardest one is the first one, because they're all easy after that. So we just bought 2 tickets. So
yeah, it's that shot of adrenaline you get.
Yeah, I can do this. And I'm not a sales guy, but I understand that. And I've watched sales guys who get kicked in the teeth all day, and they're about ready to call it quits, and they get that one sell, and suddenly they got energy to go another 6 hours. So, so we bought the tickets, and then it came time to go, and Kim reminded me, hey, don't forget, we got this thing in Vegas. Are we going, not going? And I'm like, we bought the tickets. Let's go. So I said, we'll make a weekend out of it. You grab your husband. We'll get 2 rooms in Vegas, and it's Vegas for a long weekend. And we went. And I was really shocked. Talking to roofing companies and guys down there, I suddenly realized that we have so much common ground. We deal with insurance companies, we deal with adjusters, we deal with clients. Part of what we do is we educate the client. The other part is argue with the insurance companies to get what we deserve to get paid. And so I had a lot of common ground. I got to meet Sam Taggart, the door-to-door guy. I met a bunch of roofing companies from Denver, some I already knew because of networking groups. But so I'm out there and I'm bonding with these guys, and I'm watching these sales guys that are just killing it. And I had been trying to hire door-to-door sales guys for years. And as I am not a sales guy, I don't know what to look for. I was hiring the wrong people, just the wrong people. And I suddenly realized that there is a wealth of really, really good door-to-door sales guys, business-to-business sales guys that I was not tapping into. So when we came back from Win the Storm, Kim and I sat down with our web design guy. And I said, what can I put together where I can entice roofing companies to want to work with me, send us the same leads that they have? Because if it hails on a roof, it probably hailed on their cars. Those cars got to go somewhere to get fixed. And it might as well be me. So when we came back, we sat down, and Zach had a couple of contacts in the roofing industry. And so he kind of used that knowledge to help. And one of the downsides to guys in the paintless dent repair company when they hook up with a roofing sales guy is it's usually just one sales guy. They're paying him a couple $100 to bring a car to him. The roofing company doesn't know what he's doing. The owner doesn't know what he's doing. And I wanted to bypass that, because I wanted, if we do something, I want everybody on board, everybody know what's going on, so nobody's got hurt feelings, nobody thinks somebody's wasting their time. So what we really started working on was, how do we hold ourselves, AJ's Dent and me personally, accountable for every lead we're given? And how do we track that? How do we follow up with that? And how do we make it worthwhile for the roofing companies to bring us into their house, so to speak, and sell us? So we started with the concept that we would build a web page, and we would have a client info, and just kind of the roofing company would be able to have the client fill it out. We would get the lead. It's trackable through the web page. It's trackable. We're accountable. It's a real simple system. And that was the other thing that we were really striving for, is something that can be added on, like gutters, siding, fencing, landscaping, that roofers are already going to be in there looking at anyway, but keep it simple and make it easy to use. So, and that's kind of where that whole concept started. And thankful for Mark Brown and Valor Roofing in Denver. They were our first guinea pig, and they signed up with us right away when we approached them about it. And they've kind of fed us stuff over the years, and we've gotten some of the kinks worked out of it, so to speak, as we would with any roofing thing. So you'll see there, the biggest thing we want to do is we wanted whoever our roofing partner is, it to look like their page. And maybe on our website, but we want it to look like their page. So if they're showing that to a customer on an iPad or on their phone, it's their logo that's first. And that's the most important thing, because it's their client. We're just trying to get the cars. And then right next to their logo is where you fill out the customer information. And for the companies that we work with in Dallas and in Denver, we are finding the most successful ones are the ones who the sales guy fills that out for the customer. And then it makes sure that they've got their first name, last name, email, phone number, and then the referral number, which is the sales guy's name. And that's how we track that, is through that. And then the phone numbers are specific to the roofing companies. So when they call in on those numbers, we know it's a roofing partner. We know to ask the right questions. Who is the sales guy you talk to? And it's it's a simple page. It's easy to share among neighborhoods, friends. If you fill it out and then text it to the customer, they can text it to their friends, anybody who's got hail damage. And it just helps build RKG's clientele or Valor's clientele, because again, that's the first thing they see when they open that page up. So
yeah, that's why I got a lot of business, because we handled everything. We weren't just doing roof and gutters. They'd be like, "Are you doing siding? Do you actually do siding?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, go to this address around the corner." And they'd be like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
When we got smacked in 2017, that's why I got, my jobs were like $60,000, because we were doing the whole house. So, it was bigger than the guy's small commercial jobs.
Yeah.
So
Well, you make it a one-stop shopping. So you
Yeah.
shut the door and you handle everything, and you as a roofing company look great because you're taking care of everything. And all we do is we take the handoff from either this page or a phone call, and we take it in from there. So, and we do everything we can to make sure the customers are happy because at the end of the day, we wouldn't have them if it wasn't for the roofing companies. So we are really appreciative for that.
So the next question is how do they get this $1,680? How does that work? How's that arithmetic? Because I didn't bring the flyer with me down to Mexico to show. So you can break it down for us.
So you figure the way we kind of look at this is there's at least 2 cars for every roof. And the average paintless dent repair on a car is between $5,000 and $8,000. And they're usually right, especially here in Keller area. We're running between $7,000 and $8,000 on a car. So if you figure 2 cars at $7,000 a piece, that's $14,000, and 12% of 14,000 is $1,680. And it's a nice number. It's a worthwhile number, and we do it this way for a couple of reasons. One, there's money there for the sales guy, and there's a little bit of money there for the owners of the company if they want. It depends on how the companies want to break it down. I don't tell them how to break it down. Valor, they don't take anything out of it. Everything that comes through commission-wise goes straight to the sales guy. Everybody else, I mean, not everybody else, but a lot of them, they'll do like an 80-20 split or a 70-30 split or, flat rates or flat fees or whatever. So that's up to the company, and we leave that up to them. It all kind of depends on how their pay structures work and how they want it to work. Some of them can bottle it up and give it as a bonus at the end of the year. Or, like I said, it's up to them. But we like that 12% because it makes it worthwhile, and it makes it real money, and it's money that on a roof that you're not going to see because it's a car and it's not part of the property damage, it's not part of the property O&P kind of stuff. But we want to make it worthwhile. So, and we think it's worth it. So.
Well, that's why I have you on here. I thought it was worth it too, because I was like, we were talking about that, the $250 thing, and you said, yeah, I've heard horror stories about that. That's why we came up with this.
Well, part of to backtrack a little bit, one of the pushbacks that I get from guys in the roofing industry that have had paintless dent repair companies work with them is we passed out 5,000 cards for a PDR company. He said he got 3 cars and gave us $200, and it's, you pass out 5,000 cars, the guy's probably getting more cars than that out of it, but you have no way of tracking it and no way of being held accountable, which is where Zach and Kim and I, when we first sat down with this, was how do we make it so all the numbers are clean, transparent all the way across? Mm-hmm. And that's why we do it this way is I would love for somebody just to pass out 10,000 of my cards and then I only have to give them $300 or $400 and they'd be happy, but this is a better way. So it's worthwhile.
And so how do you see this roofing partnership program growing?
Short term, long term. Right now we're, like I said, we're in the Denver, Dallas markets. We're branching out into San Antonio. Because of like Win the Storm and a few other event things that we've done, we are actually starting to have relationships with roofing companies in Chicago, Nashville, Oklahoma City, Norman, Kansas City. Met some guys last night that were based out of Kansas City. They're down working the College Station Storm, but we're starting to grow. And back to your what if I get a call from somebody in Wisconsin? If you got a 1 car up there, we'll figure it out. We'll get it done. If you call and say, Woody, I've got 15 cars and it's hailed up here, we'll come up there and rent a building and we'll get set up. And long term, what we would like to see is we would like to have brick and mortar in most of the major hail markets in America. Whether they're company owned or franchise owned, we're looking for everybody that guys in my industry. A lot of guys are starting to age. I'm one of them. Starting to look at, I don't want to chase hail anymore. I kind of want to settle down, wife and kids and have my own little shop in a town. And, so some of us that are starting to age a little bit, we're looking at those kind of things. So
you're tired of driving your crew cab long bed with that 30-foot trailer all over and then 20 tents.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that.
So there's a lot of growth opportunity, especially with this as our backbone of moving into new markets, because I can hire a sales crew, and I would probably 3, 4, 5 guys, and I could be busy as all get out, or I can get 25, 30 roofing companies in a market that have anywhere between 5 and 100 sales guys, and I can do a crap ton more, and I can build up that base of clientele where we're getting year in and year out, we're getting, you know, a large volume of work to where we can set up a retail shop fairly quickly and, you know, work with our roofing partners. And, you know, we do, one of the reasons why we do the commission, and roofing guys are always like, well, I want your referrals. We don't have roofs to give. We have never had a roof to give away. So we've kind of worked this for the commission side of it, but we have also changed our intake forms to ask, was your car hit at home or was it hit at the office? Did your house sustain hail? Because for people that we get through our normal marketing things, we will have roofs in the future. We just don't have a lot of them now. So we want to be as caring and giving back to our roofing partners as we possibly can.
So we keep talking about Kim, and I've met her, and many people have met her, but since I don't know if she had internet issues or a fire to put out, but first her screen froze, and then then it completely left. So tell us about Kim.
So Kim has worked for me for 10 years. She comes over from the hospitality industry. She worked hotel motel. Her husband was 20-year Navy, retired. He works for the DOD now. So he'll get his second 20 in. He traveled all over the world in the Navy. And she worked in hospital. She worked in hotels all over. And when she came to work for me 10 years ago, she actually ran my salon that I had at the time. So when that went away, she moved into running my body shop, which we closed a few years ago, and has always been that person that she just, it's hard to describe her, but I couldn't do what I do without her. She's the most integral person in my organization. When my girlfriend wants to go away for a weekend or wants to make sure that I'm somewhere specific for dinner, she tells Kim. And it's simply because Kim puts it on my schedule and Kim reminds me. And when you work 12-hour days, 7 days a week during hail season, you forget what day of the year it is. Funny story I tell everybody is a couple years ago, girlfriend and I had a scuba trip to go on in October. And girlfriend calls and says, hey, when you're at the house this weekend, we need to go through our scuba gear, get it set up. And I'm like, babe, we got plenty of time. We can worry about it later. And she goes, the trip's in October. I said, yeah, baby, that's like months away. And she goes, what month do you think it is? I'm like, it's got to be like May. And she goes, no, it's the last week of September. So my calendar in my head gets off. So Kim makes sure that I am where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there. So she handles that. She is my handoff to person. When I meet people out, like at functions, I take pictures of the cards. I send them to Kim. Kim makes sure their contact stuff gets into our phones. She makes sure that if there's supposed to be a follow-up email, she makes sure the follow-up email goes out. You know, she picks up all my slack, and I can't say enough about it.
Yeah, that's how I feel about my assistant. So yeah, she doesn't like being on camera though.
I don't know if Kim does or doesn't. I just tell her she has to be when she.
Oh. Well, that's the only thing. She's like, I don't like being on camera. So there's been like a couple times, but usually she's like, no. So I'm okay with that.
I'm with your assistant. I am not a camera person. I don't want to be in front of people. I love this process that we came up with. And I have had to get out of my comfort zone and be in network groups and go to Win the Storm. And we did a breakout session at Win the Storm. I had to get in front of a group of people and talk about it and answer questions and things like this. It's difficult for me. But, you know, everybody says I do good. So I kind of take that positive feedback and just keep going with it because it's something I'm very, very passionate about. And for some reason, being passionate about something, I find a way to work it into conversations with random people on the street. And, you know, I get all excited and start talking. And, you know, next thing I'm showing them how the Valor page works or RKG page works. And they're like, well, I have a roofing friend. You should talk to them. So.
Exactly. So to get a hold of you guys, you can be at 833-450-4174 or at ajsdent.com/FLS/. Any closing words, Senor?
No. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate this. it was fun.
Yeah,
Not as difficult as I thought it would be.
I try to make it pretty easy. So,
So,
all right. Well, you have a great one.
Thank you. You too.